When you go to a wedding, you'll notice a lot of candlelight. It's going to be everywhere. It's an easy way to adorn a location. It can be really beautiful to work with. And obviously, you'll usually find this at night because it's going to create this gorgeous ambience. Now, there's a couple of things you have to be wary of. I've mentioned this in a couple of segments, but in the context of this conversation, it's important to remind you how to, in fact, to use candlelight. Well, usually what will happen is candlelight's usually quite low. In this case, we've got a tall candelabra. Arguably, that will be close to standing height, so the faces aren't too much higher than this. But we have to remember that candlelight will usually come from below. So what we have to do is we have to tilt the face so that basically the face is parallel to the light. Because candlelight traditionally is usually from down low and it goes up high, it will cause those unflattering shadows on the upper cheekbones, which we have to be very, very wary of. So in this case, we got away with it because we thought of a pose that would actually do that, and it's not an issue. In this case, it's actually quite disguised quite well. We have several tea candles here on this particular table, and although they look like they're standing up very, very straight, they're actually tilting towards the camera, enough so that we don't get those, again, unflattering shadows in the upper cheekbones, and that works well. Just for the sake of the argument here, what we've got is we've got an off-camera flash behind the guy smoking a cigar, and then we've got candlelight actually illuminating the front of them as well. We've got the beautiful contrast of warm light and the cool sky just after sunset there as well. In this case as well, I love this because, you know, traditionally when you're using candlelight, you should be shooting with a tungsten white balance because you're dealing with a very yellow light source. I mean, fire is yellow. So if you use tungsten, it'll correct that warmth a little bit or enough that you get that beautiful contrast. With this particular photograph, it was really, really fun because we've got this flood of light with this fog. It's a very, very cold day or cold evening in Rome. The angle I did because just straight just looked a little bit weird. I felt like the angle created a bit of beautiful movement and energy. And again, the couple are leaning towards the candlelight, and the smoke behind them, the fog, that's actually someone smoking behind them. So someone was smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, and they're just blowing out the smoke. I could see the smoke quite vividly. And just remember, if you like smoke in any capacity, whether it's fog, whether it's cigarette smoke, whether it's vape smoke, you are going to see that a lot easier if you backlight it. So in this case, there was already some spotlights on this particular building. I had one of my assistants at the time, there was a big wedding. They were squatting down, smoking a cigarette, blowing up the smoke. We've got this contrast of this very cold light because it was daylight. Now that we're actually using a tungsten white balance to clean up that warmth, that saturation of that yellow candlelight, it made what was daylight into blue. So now we have this beautiful contrast. People will call this mixed lighting, alluding to the fact that that's a mistake. I just think that that's really cool. For me, there are no mistakes. You know, you really just want to execute what you want. If that looks good, accept it. Don't say, well, someone said in a textbook or a seminar that mixed lighting is bad. Just like right now that I'm saying to you, this is just my opinion. Take it or leave it. Just trust your gut. If you think it looks good, it probably does. If you think it looks a bit bad, it probably does. And probably a shot that was photographed with candlelight that I've shown you once or twice before here. It's one of my favorite of recent times. It's certainly a signature legacy shot from my portfolio. And that is at the end of the night, we've got a handful of tea candles. They're leaning towards the actual candles so that they're more parallel to the light. Got a beautiful soft expression on their faces there as well. We have a disheveled background, which of course we exposed for first, and then brought the candlelight either closer or further away to get the balance of the exposure. So remember, the golden rule with candlelight: lean your subjects towards the candlelight so the lighting is somewhat parallel. Be careful when posing a bride with a veil next to the next to candles, because you could light her up in flames. So that would be never good for business, and perhaps you would get less than a 1-star rating on on Google. So enjoy, have fun, and don't forget to practice with candlelight. So when you're faced with that situation, you know what to do. Have fun.